Hello and welcome to another Let's Talk with Herbie this evening. Oh, hope you're all well. There we go. And this evening I thought I'd just have a quick talk about the history of brakes. Hope you can hear me over the blower motor that's misted up in here. It's the difference between my body temperature and my carbon monoxide I'm exhaling or whatever. And I thought I'd talk about the history of ABS, anti-lock braking systems. Now, it dates back to trains in 1908. It was first equipped on trains. I've experimented with trains first, and then later in the 30s and 40s they experimented with aircraft. Now they did tests. It basically had a cylinder drum, which was it had a measuring system as well to measure the speed of the wheels and things. And they on evaluation they calculated it was a 30% reduction in stopping distance, and also it was proved very vital for a lot of planes because it prevented blowouts and tyre fatigue as well, and that helped with landing as well. And then in 1958 a motorbike company in Britain called Royal Enfield, they did an experiment and a test with motorbikes equipped with no anti-lock braking system and motorbikes equipped with a similar, I think it was Montronic or Monotrack system it was or something. And in 1958 it was the same as planes. It was a 30% reduction in stopping distance on the motorbike and allowed the rider to have more full control on the heavy braking. Now, it was experimented on a lot of American vehicles by Chrysler, and they were the first company to have as an option on the Chrysler Imperial of 1971 was the first vehicle, the Chrysler Imperial. It was the first vehicle that was equipped with anti-lock braking system. It was a two-way system. It was only on the rear wheels, and it was available on the Triumph P2500 as well. I think the estate variant, and be up to speed to this junction, and it was available as an optional extra, but it was very expensive and not many people optioned it, and at the time it wasn't standardized, and it was on all four wheels as well, and it works a lot better when you have brake discs on all four wheels, because you can have what's called a reluctor ring. It's a ring where around the wheel hub with little cogs on it and a sensor, and now that sensor senses each individual little tooth going past, and if it senses one reluctor ring, and the sensor senses the speed of the teeth going past the sensor is different to another wheel, it will have brake bias, so it will pull pressure hydraulically away from the wheel which is moving too fast or starting to slow too much, thus evening out the wheel speeds, and the systems work very close to the parameters of the wheel locking, so it can work as it can stop the vehicle as fast as possible, and at the fastest rate it can, and before the wheels lock. so it works very in a very fine line, and that's how a lot of ABS systems work. Also, they have what's called a Hall sensor, which is like a electromagnetic thing which it passes and gives off a current. There's like two little nodes, and it gives off a current to the sensor, and that goes back to ECS, electronic stability system. ESC, electronic stability system, and then that's constantly reading this information, and it's reading which wheel's slipping, which wheel is starting to lock, and it will pull or push the brake fluid to the wheel, to the brake caliper, and increase the pressure, increase the braking force, or decrease the braking force. This is in very basic terms how it works, and that's done by a pump body, like I said, a valve body. And you can have 4-way bias, you can have 2-way and 3-way. Most vehicles from the 80s, 90s onwards were equipped with a 4-way bias system as standard, and that pump body controls the hydraulics, the actuators which pull and push fluid towards the wheel that's necessary, and away from the wheel as well when necessary. And there's other ones, like me go around this roundabout now. If you go out really fast, some have steering angle sensors and also geometry sensors. So what it can do, and also cornering sensors, what it can do to aid driving performance and improve grip and road holding, when a vehicle's going around a corner at speed and the inside wheel's moving slower than the outside wheel, so to help pull the vehicle with more like centrifugal force into the corner, it brakes the inside wheel, moving it slower, acting as like a pendulum. So the outside wheel that's going very fast, it's like you swinging a shopping bag really fast. It's more efficient. The more weight you have in the bag, the more motion you have at the end of the bag. Let's say it's a very weird physical, like metaphorical example for you, but yeah, that pulls the vehicle into the corner, thus cutting down on what's called oversteer. Understeer. Sorry, just lost a bit of concentration there. But understeer, and the understeer can make the vehicle wash wide and wash over to the line, which, if you have an oncoming vehicle, so it can be very, very dangerous, and it's not very nice to drive. And if you go around track of these, it can obviously aid and help with driving performance. Don't like Kia Sorentos, or don't like any of those Korean cars. Sorry, it's just me. Yeah, that's just a very opinionative Herbie. Back to ABS. The first vehicle production car to have standardized anti-lock braking system was the Honda Prelude of the year 1982, believe it or not. And Bosch weren't the originators of ABS, anti-lock braking systems. It was actually an Italian man. I can't quite remember the name because I find it hard to remember these very flamboyant names. And if I did remember, I wouldn't want to butcher his name. He worked for Fiat, and he patented this anti-lock braking system, and Bosch brought the patent for a considerable amount of money from Fiat, and they improved upon it, and you know, started to use that, and that became a very, very viable and profitable business for them. And Bosch Robert E. Bosch company, founded in 1875. First started producing magnetos for like engines, sort of early starter generators, and for like stationary pump engines, stuff like that. Yeah, that's just a fun fact for you people viewing. And motorbikes, it was never really adopted on motorbikes because of cost and development cost, and there never is the funding in the motorbike industry as there is with cars. And the motorbikes, the first sort of motorbikes to have it standardized was actually the BMW GS series in 1988. And the issue was, though, that the system was very bulky, weighed 11 kilograms, and with motorbikes, power to weights, everything really for the bike. And then in 2006, I think they got it down to around 2006, 2009. They got it down to around 3 or 3 kilos? I think it was around 6 kilos. And then later on they got it down. No, it was 3 kilos. Let me correct it. There, it was 3. I remember now. And then they got it down later in around 2009 onwards to 1.1 kilos for the super system, and for the basic system it was less than a kilogram, which is very impressive. And let's see if is there any other facts about anti-brakes. Yeah, and university in Australia proved that it cut down on accidents and the severity of accidents by 18%, but there was an increase of 36% in the potential of an accident in icy or snowy conditions, because an anti-lock braking system as well can pulsate. The actuators can pulsate, and the pump can pull and detract and attract brake fluid, biasing it around the vehicle to all 4 corners, up to 15 times per second, which is very impressive, more than a human could manually pump the brakes. And it doesn't particularly work very well in snowy or icy conditions, and this is due to our gravel or loose ground conditions, like sand, gravel, things like that, and that pulsation feeling is when you put your foot on the brake. It's not to worry about. It's when you jam your foot on the brake, you will feel the actuator body pulling and to and fro, the pressure back and forth, and it's just the sensation of that, and it happening in real time, and you're feeling it as the driver. Tells you it's working, and there'll be a warning indicator if it isn't working on your indication board panel in your vehicle. And yeah, it doesn't work properly in snowy, icy conditions. Some vehicles have an off-road mode where it will turn the ABS off, because it confuses the system, because the wheels are constantly skidding, constantly slipping, and it basically spazzes out the system, and it will take a lot longer for it to potentially work out how to effectively maybe stop the vehicle, and it led to an increase in stopping distance. And back to motorbikes. As of 2016, the European law legislated all motorbikes above 125cc to be equipped with a anti-lock braking system as standard, which is brilliant, really, because I couldn't imagine riding a bike without ABS. I could imagine bringing that to a stop without locking up the front wheels would be a bit of an issue. Yeah, and if you want to know a little quick things about tyres as well, tyres of the early generation, the first pneumatic tyre was John Dunlop on his safety bicycle. Rover actually designed one of the first bicycles called the Rover safety bicycle, that's how Rover British car company started out. And it was green, obviously, and it was one of the first layouts of a completely modern bicycle with bearings in the right place and a typical crank and pedal layout. And then obviously the 90s, we don't want to talk about K-series. That might be another episode to do with head gaskets, because it's to do with the way, not necessarily head design or things. It was generally to do with the way British motors at the time had their head gaskets made. It was sealing only minimalistically, only in the right places, on like a mesh. It was made of like a mesh with like a putty. It's like an engine cement. It's type a special gasket putty, and it was a very thin coating, more like a single ply steel gasket, compared to triple composite, which was invented by a Japanese man, and that was fitted in cars, 1960s onwards, and that vastly improved longevity of cars and vehicles. Let's just turn off the old car. What are we on today? 280,825 miles and 36.2 miles to the gallon. That's short trips here. And yeah, the reason why old tyres, they were cross-ply tyres, so the inner two sections of the tyres would move against each other, called friction, which made them very hot, slightly less efficient at rolling and things like that. And the block treads can change, like you playing a musical instrument. The block treads were even and the same sort of shape, so it produced one frequency of sound, one tone of sound. So like just driving over a grate or a constant road surface. So they're very loud. And in the 30s, 40s, they did experiment with layering them out staggered, which created more like a two-tone. So like, so it cut down on the roar and the noise, vibration, harshness of vehicles. But then it really took till the invention of radial tires, which have a steel rings all around the tire, so it creates a very tough structure, and is better coping at the rim wall stability is better, so it's less likely to come off the rim, let's say. And yeah, they changed to a pattern, like a squiggly style pattern or a curved style pattern, but the spacings were set out in blocks, like if you write piano notes. So they're set out in blocks of this shape, that shape, and this shape. And then they were of different sizes, so the tones would be higher pitch, lower pitch, and that would help drastically with the interior noise. That's why on off-road vehicles, they're very loud noise, because they're very blocky, large treads. Very blocky, large treads. And you can tell when you look at it, oh, that's going to be a loud tyre, because of the tread pattern. And also they created the water channels to help with aquaplaning and things. There's a little fact you may not know about tyre companies making a lot of profit. Tyre companies make a lot of profit from the treads will last the same as they used to. They aren't cutting down on the quality and thickness, depth of tread, but the rain channels are made thinner, and so they're the same shape as they used to be, but they're made thinner, so so they can cut down costs. and so it wears manufacturing costs. Let's say it wears quicker, meaning that the tyre is less efficient at displacing water. So it may be fine grippy and traction still on the road, great road holding, good contact patch, but then when it comes to rain it might lose its effectiveness. Yeah, so that's tonight's quick ramble as I drove home in the old BMW today. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'm doing this for you and for myself, for my mental health, as I've had a rough time with that. So hope you guys enjoy and continue with the series. Thank you very much for tuning in. See you all next time.